This is the Electric Bike Action Podcast, devoted to all things on two wheels, and sometimes three, with an electric motor. Electric Bike Action magazine is a print and digital magazine that reviews bikes and shares the latest news about e-bikes. I'm Tony Donaldson, the editor of the magazine and the host of this podcast. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and, if you like, a review to help us reach more people. You can also check out our website, electricbikeaction.com, and check out our Facebook page and Instagram account.
My guest today is Stefy Bau. Stefy started riding dirt bikes at 4 years of age. In 1983, when she was only 6, she entered her first race, finishing an impressive third place. She was the only girl competing. After that race, Stefy began a winning streak that lasted her whole first year of her racing career. Her list of everything that she's done is so impressive it would take another entire podcast episode just to detail them. I'll hit some highlights here, though. She started racing 125cc bikes at age 14, and she won her first FMI Italian Women's Motocross Championship that year. From then on, she won 7 of the next 8 FMI Italian Women's Motocross Championships from 1991 to 1998. In 1996, Stefy also raced downhill mountain bikes, so well, in fact, that the Italian Cycle Federation asked her to represent Italy in the Downhill Mountain Bike World Championship. She came to the U.S. in 1999 and dominated the AMA Women's National Motocross Championship, winning every single round. That same year, EA Sports featured her in the video game Supercross 2000. She won the 125cc and 250cc Women's World Motocross Championship that year. Not satisfied, in 2000, Stefy became the first woman in modern motocross to be granted a professional license to compete against the men. She competed in both the men's and women's championships. She was also featured in another video game, Freestyle, also from EA Sports. In October of 2005, her career was ended when she badly injured both of her ankles. In recent years, we've known her as the American face of Fantic Bikes, the famed Italian maker of motorcycles who now makes outstanding electric mountain bikes. She moved on from her work with them, but continues her love of electric motorcycles and bicycles, as you'll hear here. She also has a new company, Init Sports, that is connecting the electronic gaming world to the real world of sports. Our podcast interview had 2 calls. Stefy called us back after we finished the first call, and some of that good conversation is included herein.
Hey, Stefy, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Just getting my morning going.
I see. Do you hear me okay?
Absolutely perfect.
Perfect. Very good.
Yeah. So, your list of accomplishments is so amazing. And I wanted to, I'm excited to find out, to tell the listeners, like, what you're doing now. So tell me more about Init Sports.
So Init Sport is an esport agency. So for the people that are not familiar for esports, so what esports are, esport pretty much it is about creating tournaments for video games. And I have created Init Esport about 6 months ago now, more or less. And I got together with 2 partners, one lady in the UK and my sister in Italy. And we decided to explore the esport ecosystem for the motorcycle industry. So I saw an opportunity to make this link. And esport is a fast-growing community and industry. And I saw that there was a gap for motocross and supercross. So I'm like, I think this can be a great opportunity to get involved and put my passion for motorcycling together with this very fast-growing industry and community that is esport. So this is how we got together, and now we decide to launch this new adventure.
That's fantastic. And how does that, did any of that come from the fact that you've been featured in several games?
Well, that is a little bit to do with that. That was a long time ago when I used to be a professional motocross racer, and my career was at the top, and I was able to get to be featured into video games, and that was very cool. So now, I feel like I almost coming full circle because I'm working on behind the scene right now to try to promote gaming for the motorcycle industry. And I do feel that there is a very interesting link there because we know that riding and racing motorcycle, it's very expensive and can be also, dangerous, from the eye of a parent to get a kid involved. But we all know that kids are on video games. So my hope is try to use that tool, so the attention of the kids on the game, and move that from being on the couch and playing, eventually transform that passion into riding. I feel they are much more, especially parent, they feel a little bit more comfortable to get the kids on the game first. So, for me, it's just a matter of leveraging that opportunity and get the passion going so much that then we can turn this kid into real riders.
Absolutely. And have you seen any of them do that yet, as far as going from being a gamer to actually getting out on bikes?
Well, not on motorcycle yet, but because we have not started yet in our industry a full-on eSport championship, which is what I'm working on. But it has been working for Formula One, for instance. Right now, the Formula One eSport video game and tournament has been going on for 4 or 5 years. And now the top of the top level gamers, they are getting so good in playing the Formula One video game that now the main team, like the Red Bull team and the Ferrari team, are actually recruiting them as possible racer to put it in the car. So it's very interesting to me to see the evolution. So you can become a professional esport player and then have a chance to be seen by the companies and the brands, and then making the jump to a real life athlete.
That makes total sense. But wow, it's amazing to me to go from the mechanics of, sitting on the couch to going out and doing these activities that are very physically demanding.
Absolutely. And in reality, I do think that to turn a gamer into the next Kenroxor or Eli Tomac, it's going to be very difficult in our industry. But maybe we can do the other way around. Maybe we can have an Eli Tomac when he retires to become, a professional gamer and win a championship on Supercross in esports.
That would be pretty fantastic. I mean, that's a definitely a good direction to go. But I like the other idea too of getting people to get off the couch and just jump in and be part of the whole scene.
Yeah, I also think that it can be explored in so many different ways, because the kids are on those things, are on those devices, are on the computer, the video game is what they have in front of their eyes, all the time. So the game can become an instrument to promote the sport in a way, as I said, to incentivize maybe the possibility for them to become real riders. It can be explored in so many different ways, and this is one of the venues that we are putting into consideration over in Init Sports. But it's very exciting. There are exciting times, and if done right, I think we can help grow the base of motorcyclists, in our industry.
That's fantastic. Looking at the industry, since this is an e-bike magazine, do you see electric bikes coming into that?
I'm not quite sure in what way electric bikes can come into, in the video game, because unfortunately we do not have an e-bike championship per se, really, where a video game can be developed for that particular way of interpret the sport. However, I am personally a big fan of electric transportation, and I'm going to try to work very hard to try to see how to make the connection between the gaming community and the electric motorcycle and electric bicycles. I do think, again, with going electric, you kind of take down a little bit the barrier that a parent might have to want to buy a 50, motorcycle, to a kid,
right.
A 50 gas power motorcycle. You have to go to a track to ride. A, 50 similar motorcycle, you can ride it in the backyard.
That's true.
So
your neighbors aren't going to get mad at you.
Yeah, so I think, maybe through the video games, there might be an opportunity to use the game to be in front of the kids and promote that type of riding, and therefore it's going to benefit the industry. I do think, personally, as I said, I love electric transportation, electric mobility. I think it is the future, in so many different ways, motorcycle and bicycles. So, we're going to keep an eye on that and try to figure out how we can link the video game industry to e-transportation.
I agree. That's fantastic. All right. How many people are you representing right now, and what's going on with that?
Well, right now, my focus is mostly on Init Sports. And Init Sports is fairly new, so we are working very hard on organizing the championship. Right now, that's the first focus because we don't have that in the industry, so we are working toward that. Then after that, we are having some thoughts of putting a video game team together, so be able to try to help possibly female gamers, because I relate to that a lot, being a former professional motocross racer and supercross racer, motorcycle racing, it's pretty much male dominated. And I was lucky enough to be able to break the ceiling in that. And the gaming industry is very similar, for the women's side, there is not many girls that they are out there and compete professionally in esports. So I do feel the resemblance. So my goal and my team goal is to eventually start to create a team for esport and help women gamer in developing a career into this ecosystem.
That's awesome. If anybody can do it, you can, for sure.
Thank you.
Folks, a little bit of a break here. I couldn't figure out a way to mix the two seamlessly, so here is the part between the two calls where we get back into talking about e-bikes.
Yeah, as you see, I'm very much plugged into a lot of things, and I ride a lot e-bikes, and every time I get the chance, because I'm traveling and sometimes I'm able to bring it with me. So it's always interesting to find out the different approach of people that you ride an e-bike. And it's funny because it's different from state to state.
Yeah, it's very true.
I'm finding that out. It's a funny feeling. I'm writing, taking notes. Maybe, in a little while, I'm gonna put out some stuff and share with our community, what it is about going riding in different places and what people perception is.
I would actually love to feature that.
Yeah. I'm gonna put a little bit more info together. I wanted to collect a good sample, and then maybe we'll do that. I can pass an information to you and then we can do a feature. It's very interesting. Like I was a few months ago, for instance, I was up in the Pacific Northwest, and even though like in some places, not everywhere, but in some places you find the sign "no e-bikes," and then if maybe attempt to ride, or be courteous, nobody cares. Everybody that see you, they are very like, oh, cool, you're riding an e-bike. So then you start thinking, okay, where is the hiccup? If the riders that are on the trail, they are cool with it, where is the hiccup? And I think at that point is probably the land managers that never tried an e-bike so they cannot make an educated decision. Whereas in other places, like I rode, because I'm here around Phoenix, and I went to Sedona, and I wanted to try to ride in Sedona.
Right.
And that the perception was completely different, meaning like the local hates you, but the land manager, and the forestry people, if they see you in the trail, they're just smiling. You say, hey, have a good ride, good riding an e-bike. So it's like, what?
Wow, that's funny.
It's like very crazy. But I'm collecting a lot of data, and we'll see. Like I said, like in the future, when I have a good number of information, I love to share it, at least educate people, in what to expect and not to expect. And because I am an e-bike rider, I tend to be very educational when I'm on the trail, and I listen. I like to see where the hate come from,
Sure.
To try to show, like, hey, maybe, it's not really that bad like you think, and let me tell you why. And then here, try it. I have it here with me. Just try it so you can make up your mind on your own. So.
Oh, that is the greatest tool ever. Just hand over your bike and say, here,
Exactly.
Go take it up that hill. And they come back with a big smile on their face, and they're mad at you because you've just sold 2 e-bikes to them, one for themselves and one for their significant other.
Exactly. That is so true. Yeah. I just wish that like a company itself will understand a lot more that part. Like between you and me, when I was with Fantic, you have no idea how much bikes I sold on the trails just by going in trails. Whereas a lot of other company, it feels like that they are putting effort into education, but it's not enough. I think they can do much more. Like really, like you said, here, hold on to the bike, go and try it. Okay, you gotta have to have the right people too to be able to be friendly enough to do a connection with somebody on the trail. But I think that's the way. Like if we want to change the mentality as an industry, that it has to be the way. Let people try it. Get a bunch of influencer, ambassador, or whatever out in the trail, and then get people on it.
I absolutely agree. I have no idea how many I've sold by doing that, but it's a lot, because I run into people all the time that have questions and that want to try it, and it's just it's getting people to throw a leg over and take a couple of pedals, and then suddenly the light bulb goes off.
Yep, indeed. It's cool. I mean, it's coming. Like sometimes I read articles where stuff are still very tough in some places, but I think it can be stopped. More and more people are going to learn and understand, and, it's going to, with time, turn around. But on the other hand, I'm very excited about e-motorcycles too. I think more and more, we're going to see good product coming out. They are not incredibly expensive. We talked about this the other time when we spoke. And that is another venue that I think is going to be exciting in the next few years.
I completely agree. I'm excited to see how many manufacturers are coming out with e-bikes, e-motorcycles, and the new ones. Did you see the Damon announcement?
No, I'm going to check it out. I think you mentioned something about the Damon to me when I spoke with you the other day.
It's a street bike, but it'll do 200 miles an hour. It will do 200 miles on the highway and 300 in the city.
Wow.
It puts out the equivalent of 200 horsepower, and it has like these incredible safety features. All kinds of sensors to keep you from having an accident, including watching stuff around you, cars coming at you and that kind of thing. And it's going to cost $25,000. I mean, that's crazy performance. And then so far, the only off-road bike I've ridden has been the KTM Freeride EXC. Mm-hmm. It was a pretty fun bike.
Yes, it is fun, but it is not a real dirt bike. The ones that were the real ones were the Alta, but unfortunately, it collapsed the whole project. But have you tried Alta before?
I never had the opportunity.
Yeah, the Alta it was really like riding a 250F. That's the feeling, like how it was constructed, the frame, the balance, like of the motorcycle. It was just like, it was not different than a 250F, and you just were hearing this instead of, like shifting gear and hearing the sound of the pipe. The KTM Freeride, in my opinion, is super fun, but it is like a trail bike, like you will not be able to compete in a motocross race with that.
No, not at all, but that's not even where it's aimed.
Yeah, for sure. It is for trail riding, like we were talking about, to try to bring more people out and about.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, pardon me, one of the things a friend of mine brought up was putting some sort of a transmitter that's attached to the motor that knows how many RPMs the motor's turning, and it plays a sound in your helmet that gives you audio feedback, so it does sound like a motor. So it's a little more thrilling that way. I mean, the good news is that you could build a motocross track in the middle of a city and nobody would complain about the noise.
Indeed.
But at the same time, there's that thrilling sound of an internal combustion engine that
yes, I know.
that you kind of almost need.
Yeah, but like I think it is like that for us, that we grow up doing that. But thinking about it in this way, if kids are starting to grow up with the electric, that is what they're gonna know.
That is so true.
What I mean? So if that is like the KTM E50 and the Cobra, if their kids are gonna start to get involved with that, then it's going to become a natural evolution to like that will be becoming the norm. So then therefore they're not going to know any different. You see what I mean? It's like, if you
completely.
know of something that is good, then you're going to miss it. But if you don't know,
that's true. Well, it's the same thing with having to shift gears and things like that. I mean, that's until somebody puts a gearbox on an electric bike, they're simpler to ride.
Yeah, I know. And the same thing happened in cars, if you think about it. Like they were back in the days, mostly the car were with stick shift, and then the automatic cars. And then, especially I'm from Europe and we still use them a lot over there. But in America, the majority of the population does not know how to drive a stick shift car. And, like if you drive a stick shift car, you can get performance out of the vehicle if you want to. You can control it more. With an automatic, not so much, but it's way easier. So it becomes, something a little bit easier for every generation and every type of skill. And I think this is going to transform with time into motorcycling as well, at least for commuting. Because you don't really need to, be able to shift and go super fast, during commuting. So
it's true. All right. Where can people find you? What is your website?
Yes. If people want to follow what's going on with Init Esports, they can go exactly there, initesports.com. So it's INIT esports.com. It's all one word, and we are going to post where we're going to be. We're going to try to be present at South by Southwest, which is a very big entertaining show in Austin in March. And for me, again, personally, it will be another venue to try to bring motorcycle in something that is a little bit, outside our current industry. And I'm very excited about that. And that would be, our biggest and most recent engagement that we are going to participate in. So you can check the website. And we also have a Twitter handle and a Facebook page. And we're going to put a lot of information out there. And if you're interested in learning more about esport or becoming an esport gamer, feel free to reach out. We are here to help.
Fantastic. Well, excellent. Thank you, Stefy. Really appreciate it. And I'm excited for you going forward on this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tony. It's always good, to be able to chit-chat a little bit and explain what I'm up to. And I really, really love this opportunity. I'm thankful. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. All right. Thanks, Stefy. And have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much, Tony. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Electric Bike Action Podcast. For the latest reviews and information, visit electricbikeaction.com, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher or Google or wherever you get your podcasts, and give us a rating and review to help spread the word about e-bikes. You can also email me at tonyd@hightorque.com, that's TONYD at hi-torque.com. I'm happy to answer questions and would love to hear your experiences and adventures on e-bikes. This podcast is powered by Callcast.